Hello dear students. We discussed about a circular flow of economy in 4 sector, right? So in the same thing we'll understand a case study which is related to this topic. Can you please read the case?
Circular flow of economic activity, 4-sector model. Real world scenario. After an economic slowdown, the government of India increased spending on infrastructure projects such as highways, metro rail, and digital connectivity to revive growth. Within a short period, construction companies received large contracts, workers were hired on a large scale, demand for cement, steel, fuel, and services increased, imports of machinery and fuel rose, tax collection gradually improved. This single decision triggered the circular flow of income across 4 sectors of the economy.
Right, thank you. Actually, so many things was happened within a short period of time. That is what mentioned in this case. As within short period, like construction companies received large contracts. That is a very big thing. Okay, at a time if they are receiving so many contracts, what they are going to do next further? That is the first thing. Next, workers were hired on a large scale. Of course, for construction company, definitely they need more workers. That too for, on a large scale they have to hire. Second thing. Third is demand for steel. We are specifically speaking about construction process, right? Okay. So demand for cement, steel, fuel and all other services, everything it was increased. Okay. And next is imports of machinery and fuel also rose. So again all fuel cost, everything it was increased. And last is tax collections gradually improved. So now this is what the economic, we can say everything as economic slowdown, right? Why? Because as government of India where they increased spending on all infrastructure projects. If government decided to increase infrastructure projects, infrastructure means construction projects, building different bridges, infrastructure like roads, all these things are infrastructure projects, okay. Even metro rail, okay. So all these things we can say. If this is going to happen within a short period of time, as I mentioned the different list, like everything is what happening. So this decision actually triggered the circular flow of income. Now we are going to connect this decision with the circular flow what we discussed, okay. So first I am asking you that identify the sectors over here. We discussed about different sectors here, right? So what are all the sectors that you can able to find from this case? Government, of course government is involved here. Can we say households? Households also involved. Government in the sense where government is a spender here. Since government is spending their money for infrastructure projects, right? So spender, even government is also acting as a tax collector. They are collecting taxes. I mentioned one point about tax, right? So tax collectors, and most importantly government is acting as policy maker. Okay, so government is the first factor, first sector. Second, we can say as households, as normal individuals. Workers, I mentioned about workers, right? So obviously workers are acting as households. Consumers, who is going to consume? After building all the infrastructure projects, everything is over, again we people, we are going to consume it, right? So consumers, we are acting as consumers. If government is acting as tax collectors, then we will become taxpayers. So households are acting as taxpayers, okay. And firms, firms also again another sector. Firms in the sense we can say construction companies, right? Construction companies who approached for this project, and then suppliers who is supplying cement, steel for doing that construction project. So everybody are acting as firms over here, and all the service providers, okay. And so these are all, even one more factor also we can say, that is foreign sector. In this case I mentioned that imports of machinery. So we can say another factor over here, that is foreign sector. Foreign sector are importers, Importers means another one might be exporters. Okay, if we are importing cement or steel or any other items from abroad, importers, or if we can able to export, that is exporters. And then any foreign investors, everybody are acting as foreign sectors. So these are all the different sectors. So how circular flow is happening between all the different sectors which I mentioned, that is government, firms, and then households, foreign sectors. Okay, so government spends money, am I right? So government spends money, and then firms, what they are doing, firms are receiving the income. Since firms are the service providers, they have to receive the income. How do they use it? How do they use it? The question here is, how do they use it? With the help of households, that is workers. Okay, and next is, what happens to production and jobs? What happens? They will be, production will be increased and jobs also tends to increase. So how does money return to the government? Through tax. And next is, why is the foreign sector involved over here? Since we are importing certain materials from foreign countries, that is the reason, so they involved in over here. So if households, I am asking you a certain question like, if households fear job loss and reduce spending, which part of the circular flow weakens first? If households fear job loss, if they are afraid of getting, if we need to face this job loss and reduce spending, which circular flow affects first? Can we say banks? Even firms. See, they are in ready of selling our goods to us, but we are not having enough money since we are not having job. So then how will spend the money? Okay, so all their products, no one is there to purchase their products. Only if we have certain income in our hands, we can able to invest or deposit our money in the banks or any financial institutions. If anything, if at all job loss is happening, how all these things will be possible? That is the question. Clear? So these are all the general discussions about this circular flow. If one scenario is happening, who is affecting, who is gaining, and how the entire process is happening through a cyclic thing. So that is all about this circular flow which we discussed through this case. Clear? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.